Irish Breakdown Nation, how are you out there today? Coming to you live with a special edition of the Irish Breakdown podcast. It's a live show. It is a show where we have boots on the ground in South Bend for the big matchup today against the Stanford Cardinal. Of course, we have a special guest for you today. We have a special announcement for you today. But before we do, can you please hit that like button, subscribe to this podcast, hit that share button, that notification bell is always appreciated. It is a big day, big announcement, and we are so excited to be live with you today. And of course, I'm Ryan Roberts, Director of Scouting here at irishbreakdown.com, and we have live on campus actually today, Mr. Brian Driscoll is coming live with us on the South Bend Notre Dame campus to bring you all a little inside peek into what we have going on here today. And it's going to be an exciting one. If playing Stanford tonight isn't going to be big enough, right? As if potentially winning for Notre Dame, moving to 4-2, getting the momentum continuing to work on your side. We also have special announcements. So we're going to get into a lot of great news here today. It's going to run as a regular show, right? We're going to talk about a lot of exciting things. Of course, a little quick breakdown of what the Irish should expect tonight against Stanford. I know we have Brian waiting back behind the scenes here live on the Notre Dame campus, so I'm going to try to bring Brian in as long as he's ready. Hopefully he's ready. Trying to see if he's good down there. But we are going to give you all the live perspective. I know we have a big crowd up there. If there is anybody that's still live on the campus at Notre Dame and is not there to witness what we think will be a kind of a huge day, not only in Irish Breakdown land, but also, of course, a big moment for this Notre Dame program moving forward. So, Brian, are we ready? Are we ready to rock? Brian, are you with me? No. All right, a little technical difficulties. All right, well, let's wait there to get Brian here in a second, okay? So we have, like I said, a special guest for you today. And, of course, it's not Brian Driscoll. Brian Driscoll is always a special guest, but we get to see him every day. So we are live here again. I'm, unfortunately, still in New Jersey. I wish I was out in South Bend. But out there, if you all want to start throwing in the chat, who is out in South Bend right now? I want to kind of get a head count of what the Notre Dame fans are looking at right now and to see who's excited to get this day started with. So let me just take a look here as Brian is trying to get connected to – hold on one sec as I get us going here. All right. All right, please. All right, give me 1 second. Oh, there we are.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Let's rock and roll, man. So we're here live at Notre Dame Stadium. We're out in front of the Golden Dome. You can see that sucker right in the background, right? So got some big news to that break today, Ryan. And, you know, look, we've talked a lot about these last few months about Notre Dame and what Marcus Freeman is doing from a recruiting standpoint. And, you know, they've done a good job of getting some playmakers. You know, you've got Braylon James, Dylan Edwards, Jaden Lamar, Jaden Grouse, Rico Flores, a lot of talented playmakers. But, you know, to really take that next step, you know, Notre Dame's going to have to get some more playmakers, right? I mean, that's the reality of it. They need more playmakers, and that's going to be a big part of what they're going to do. They just be able to finish, right? We talk a lot about being able to can I help? Hold on a second, Ryan.
All right. Well, looks like we have a special guest joining this set now. Yes, sir.
What's up? So I'm Jeremiah Larry. I go to Christian Brothers College Prep, and I will be committing to the University of Notre Dame.
All right. There you have it. Jeremiah Love commits to the University of Notre Dame 2023 running back. Jeremiah, we're having a little bit of technical issues, but before I let you go and celebrate, sir, tell us why the Irish ultimately for the Notre Dame fans listening for you.
The fans showed a lot of love. I think it's the perfect fit for me and my family. Academics and sports here are great. The people are great, and just has a great fan base, and I would love to be part of the Notre Dame family.
I love it. And last thing before I let you go celebrate.
That's all. Is that it?
Yeah, Jeremiah, you're good, man. You go enjoy your day. We'll be talking about your commitment. Congratulations and welcome to the Notre Dame fan base, buddy.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. All right.
Let's go Irish! And there you have it. I'm going to go celebrate with all the IB Nation people that are here on campus, man. Jeremiah Love is a commit to University of Notre Dame. This is a big one for Notre Dame. You know those playmakers we're talking about? That's one of the best right there.
Yep. Love it. Thank you, Brian. You enjoy. The rest of the Love family, Jeremiah can enjoy. So, apologize for a little bit of technical difficulties there. Obviously, the Wi-Fi on campus was not the best that we would have liked for that announcement. But regardless, as you just saw, Jeremiah Love, 2023 running back out of Christian Brothers Collegiate Prep in St. Louis, Missouri, has committed to the University of Notre Dame. Wanted to get that news out to you all first and foremost. This is something that we at Irish Breakdown have been working on for a while. So let's get into a little bit of the backstory here. All right, let's get into a little backstory. We'll also talk about how this all came to be. We'll also talk about class impact, what's next. We'll be working through all of that. And also, just so you know, I did a more intensive interview, a bit more deep with Jeremiah actually on Thursday in preparation for this. So as long as we can get this thing working, because technical issues are not our friends today, as long as I can get this thing rocking and rolling, I also want to be able to play that for you all. A little more in-depth conversation with Jeremiah Love. We talked about, you know, what finally ended for him, what was the trajectory of this commitment, why the timing now, why Notre Dame, what's next for him, a lot of great stuff too. So hope you all are on campus, because it probably would have been a much cooler scene than maybe listening to here on YouTube with the technical issues. But want to thank you all again for joining this podcast and just getting a little bit of insight. So let's talk about this recruitment, because this has been one that has been talked about a ton over the last few months. Okay, it's been talked about a ton. I know there's also been a lot of people that have said, like, hey, we're here in Texas A&M. At one point, Alabama's a huge player for Jeremiah Love. And I just want to say that we at Irish Breakdown have pushed back a lot against some of those rumors, okay? So let's start by talking how this happens, the commitments ultimately. So Jeremiah Love actually ended up committing silently to Notre Dame during the bye week, the Friday of the bye week. That's when we were made aware by him, by some people close to the staff, that he had made the commitment to Notre Dame. And actually, between us, because it's out in the open now, we have been on talking to Jeremiah because we knew that it was trending in the right direction even before that. So to get him on the show was kind of working. We were kind of working our due diligence well before he had committed to Notre Dame. So this is one where a lot of rumors have been thrown around about this recruitment for Jeremiah. Okay. So one, it was always Notre Dame. And you'll hear, if I can get the interview to play during the podcast here, you will hear right from his mouth that it was just always Notre Dame. Now, there were rumors that was, yes, go like this video. I agree with Brady Quinn's jawline. Great jawline, by the way. Hit that like button, share this podcast, because it is a great day to be an Irish Notre Dame supporter. So what we have here is there was for months, at one point, it was Alabama is the front runner for Jeremiah Love. And then you saw Richard Young commit to Alabama. You saw Justice Haynes commit to Alabama. And that quickly kind of got dismissed. And if I'm being completely honest with everybody, that was never a thing. It was never a thing. Alabama was never in serious consideration here. I would say that they were probably fourth in this running, even if he would have wanted to go. So the next team that gets thrown out there, program, aside from Notre Dame, is Texas A&M. Texas A&M is the front runner for Jeremiah Love. Jeremiah Love wants the bag. He wants all the NIL money. They're offering him a ton of money, yada, yada, yada. Okay? So that's what happens next, right? So that's what everyone's saying. It's Texas A&M. It's Texas A&M. He goes to Texas A&M a couple times over the last couple months. It's Texas A&M. And I will say, for me, Texas A&M was the second. They were the second team in this race, okay? But by all accounts, at every stop, every time he went to a different school, every time he went to a Notre Dame and came back, it was always Notre Dame. Always. There was never any doubt in my mind that it was Notre Dame, directly from people close to Jeremiah, that it was always Notre Dame. Now, some people did a good job, right? Texas A&M made their pitch, did a good job. Michigan actually did a solid job, made their pitch. Oregon actually did a decent job, did their pitch. But all along, just want to dismiss some of the misnomers out there that this was a Texas A&M game to win, right? It was not. It was never that. It was never that. And I want people to just kind of take a step back and just kind of, this is where we are at now as far as this commitment happens. So committed during the bye week on the Friday. I mean, we were on the phone Friday nights figuring out like, hey, let's make this happen. Right, buddy? So it is a big moment for Notre Dame. Obviously, we'll talk about the class impact. We'll talk about how he fits the 2023 class as a whole and how it is continuing to kind of ramp up here to the end. And it is, it's big day for Notre Dame. I mean, if you don't want to hit the like button just based upon what a big get this is for Notre Dame. I mean, this kid is arguably a top 50 football player in the class of 2023 and one of the most dynamic running backs in the class. Not to mention, talk about the pipeline that could be continued to build in St. Louis. On the team already, you have Gabriel Rubio. You have Tyson Ford. You have Christian Gray in the 2023 class already committed out of Smet Jesuit in St. Louis. You also have Kyron Williams from a couple years from last year that was also a big member of the St. Louis pipeline that is getting built. And I will tell you this, all folks, Jeremiah Love is already talking to me, already talking to others about trying to get more St. Louis players to commit to Notre Dame or to come to Notre Dame. So it's a monumental moment. It truly is. This is one where you have to feel good about it if you're Notre Dame. That's the point blank period to it, right? This is one where you look at the impact that a young man like this can have. It is just wonderful to kind of dream about the possibilities, because they already have a commit in the class like a Jaden Lamar. You talk about what the running back room looks like right now. Talk about that for a second, right? Audric Estime, Logan Diggs, Chris Tyree, Jabron Payne. Coming in next year now, you have Jeremiah Love and Jaden Lamar with a healthy Jadarian Price coming back from injury. That is an embarrassment of riches if you are Notre Dame. So quality win, big win, getting them to stay home in the North. This is it's a big one, folks. It really is. So excited. I see how everybody in this chat is also extremely excited as this moment happens, man. This is just so much fun. I have been excited about this one because, again, we have been working on this guy for a little bit. So when we got word that this was indeed in the works, that it was indeed going to happen, that Irish Breakdown had to get you guys right? Like you knew that we had the chance to get a guy like a Jeremiah Love to make the live commitments with us, we knew that it would have to happen, right? So let us I'm trying to get our video downloaded. All right. All right. Just give me 1 second, folks, as I'm trying to multitask. Because. All right. All right. So just bear with me for 1 second as I am trying to get the video going for you guys. Because, again, I had the opportunity to talk with Jeremiah on Thursday nights. And, of course, it's not downloading now. All right. So let me see. All right. Just bear with me, folks. My apologies. For whatever reason, this is going extremely slow. Because why would anything go fast when you actually need it, you know? So let's work here. This is not fun. All right. Right. All right. Apologies again. Just give me 1 second. Right. All right. So on Thursday, I did an interview with Jeremiah Love. I had the chance to sit down with him for 15 minutes, talk about some particulars into his recruitment, how it happened, why Notre Dame, a little bit about a couple other schools, as well as some of the St. Lunatics that they call themselves in the St. Louis area that are a part of a brotherhood out there that Jeremiah's hoping to get a couple of them to join him in the class. So again, appreciate everyone's patience, man. This is one where someone just said in the chat, man, it's 100% true. When you want technology to work, when you need technology to work, technology says, nope, we're not going to work for you today. So this would be a lot easier if I was... And it's not downloading. All right, cool. All right, so this isn't downloading. Fantastic. All right. So let's talk about class impact. I think that would be a good way to go here, right? So everyone has been talking about, and for very good reason, why this commitment matters to Notre Dame so much. Because we've been making a big deal about this, and I had an article that came out on Irish Breakdown probably like a couple of weeks ago at this point about why I thought that this was such a big deal for Notre Dame, getting a guy like a Jeremiah Love in this class. And a lot of people would say this, right? They would say, you already have this dynamic running back room. We talked about the three-headed monster, Audric Estime, Logan Diggs, Chris Tyree, and Notre Dame already has a running back recruit in the 2023 class, Jane Lamar, who's also a very good player, by the way, for being completely honest. So people will start to ask, what is it about Jeremiah Love that makes this recruitment different, man? And there's a lot of different layers to it. So let's work through a couple of the big points. One thing that Notre Dame has in small amounts is breakaway threats offensively, right? And we've seen some struggles, obviously, early on in this season so far with playmakers that are able to take it the distance. When you're talking about a guy, because right now Notre Dame has, at the running back position especially, Chris Tyree is a home run threat, although not many home runs so far this year for him. Audric Estime is a big, powerful, bruising back that is an absolute monster of a runner. But I, again, would not call Audric Estime a game-breaking back. He is a guy he's a player that is more of a chain mover, volume getter, and then a guy that also at times can make a big play. That's what a Audric Estime is. Logan Diggs is a little bit in between, right? Like he's a slasher. He's got pretty good initial burst, breakaway speed, but he's not a true home run threat. That's not his bag. What another player that could be that guy is Jadarian Price, who was going to play a lot for Notre Dame in 2022 if he was healthy. But of course, the preseason injury, tearing the Achilles. So you're down to truly one player at the running back position that can be a big-time game breaker in Chris Tyree. Everybody else is a good running back, obviously, very good. I mean, Aldrick Estime has played phenomenally well. Logan Diggs over the last 2 weeks has done a lot of good things. That thing is really pushing in the right direction. But the one thing that you were missing is volume as far as guys that can take it the distance. You have Lorenzo Styles, who can take the top off. You have Brayton Lindsay, who it's been a struggle completing the ball, but he's shown the ability in the past and even this year to get open deep and to have that type of vertical speed. So getting a guy like a Jeremiah Love in this class gives you that extra oomph as far as having a true playmaking presence on the back end. So I think that that's the biggest impact for me. We'll be able to continue to dive a little bit more into what this class impact means. I do have a video that is up. I'm not sure what the quality is going to be on this guy because, again, my internet is just being really weird. So I'm going to take this to you again. Before I play this, I am apologizing in advance. The video quality might not be the best, but you're able to hear from Jeremiah Love, who has just committed to Notre Dame. So let me bring him up here in a second. And I hope you all enjoy. And if you could just throw in the chat, like, yeah, works good, man. The video is working. Would really genuinely appreciate that. All right. So let us dive into my Welcome Irish Breakdown. Welcome to the Notre Dame Nation. This is a fun interview that we have for you all today. Of course, I have with me Mr. Jeremiah Love, the newest member of the 2023 recruiting class for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Jeremiah, this is a long time coming, man. I know it's been a long process for you. I guess first and foremost to start here, man, how does it feel to finally be committed, a part of the Notre Dame class? It's got to be surreal for you, man.
It feels great. It's took a lot of weight off my shoulders, so I can really focus now on my season and finishing out and trying to win another state championship. So I feel great about this class. I think that we're going to do some pretty special things. Got a lot of St. Louis people. Got Christian Gray. I'm trying to get J-Mac and Wingo to come too. But, yeah, it feels great. It took a lot of weight off my shoulders, and I think that this class is pretty special.
Yeah, man. Well, let me ask you this, Jeremiah, because I know there was obviously a lot of suitors out there for you, right? Alabama's after you, Texas A&M, Oregon's in the mix, Michigan. There's every school has kind of made their pitch to you, man. Tell me why, and tell Irish Nation why is Notre Dame the ultimate destination for you? What set them apart amongst so many great schools?
I think it just offered everything that I really wanted in the school. I think it's a really good fit for me and my family. Notre Dame just has everything you can really look for in the school. Got sports, got academics, people, fan base. It just has everything that you would really want out of a school. And I think it's just a perfect fit for me and my family.
And I know we're obviously catching up before the Stanford game. I know you're going to get out there for the weekend with your family and everything. So let me ask you, man, you've been on campus a couple times. What's just your, I guess, the energy around the campus right now, right? Because obviously Marcus Freeman, new era, a lot of excitement around, but what's it just been like for you to be in South Bend a couple of times, experience the fans, do all that good stuff?
It's been great. Since I've been up there, every time I went up there, there's been like a couple of people who's recognized me. They're like, hey, what's up, J Love? Trying to take pictures and stuff. But it's been great. It is a new era. Marcus Freeman, it's a lot of got new running backs coach. So there's going to be a lot of, we got a show. Well, Marcus Freeman I would just say he has a lot to show. So, I think this is going to be a good opportunity for me and him. I think that he's going to turn out to be a very good head coach. And, the atmosphere at Notre Dame is great. It's one of the reasons why I picked Notre Dame. And I can't wait to get up there.
Well, Jeremiah, I know in the past you've told me that Dylan McCullough was a big part in this recruitment, right? I know you have a great relationship with him. You just talked a little bit about Marcus Freeman. Can you talk to me about just the coaching staff in general? What type of people are they? How excited you're going to be able to play for them?
Coach McCullough, me and him are a lot alike. We speak the same football language. When he explains stuff to me, football stuff, it's real easy to pick up. And we're kind of similar in our personalities too. We're real chill. We don't really get mad at stuff or nothing like that. But me and him are real similar. And the whole coaching staff they're really cool. All of them seem like pretty good coaches. And Coach McCullough, I just think me and him can connect on our personality and football wise. He's a really good coach. I haven't even been there yet, and I know that he's a really good coach because on one of my visits, my official, I think, and we were just sitting down talking about football, and it was just natural picking up stuff, and it was natural and fast, and I just felt that connection.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously Coach McCullough's got a great resume. You talk about what he did with the Kansas City Chiefs, winning the Super Bowl, what he did at the University of Indiana with guys like Jordan Howard and Tevin Coleman, and then at USC with Ronald Jones. Obviously, he has tutored a lot of great running backs, man. I want to ask about the room that you're going into because we've seen, especially over the last couple games, you've seen Audric Estime take a big step. Logan Diggs is playing good football. Chris Tyree, there's other great running backs that are part of this room, man. How excited are you about that unit? Because I think that Notre Dame really, it's been a kind of a lull, for a couple years before Kyron Williams, and now there's a lot of running back talent in that room, man. So what's it going to be like to just be a part of that room in general?
I think it's going to be great. I think we'll all get along pretty well. A lot of great players. I can't wait to meet the new recruits, some of the new running back recruits and the players that are there now. I haven't got to meet the running backs really, but I look forward to meeting them and getting to know them. But I think that we're going to do some special things because that running back room is going to be pretty deep when we get there. So I think it's going to be great.
Well, and Jeremiah, you already mentioned something that I wanted to ask you about because you mentioned the St. Louis thing, right? And obviously there's a lot of talent that comes out of St. Louis, and Notre Dame has tapped into it recently with guys like Tyson Ford, and Gabriel Rubio, and obviously yourself and Christian Gray now in this class. And I know next class, they're looking at guys like your teammate, Jeremiah McClellan, who's a great football player, and Ryan Wingo, who we already talked about a little bit. What's it like, man, trying to, I guess, lead this movement to Notre Dame? A lot of great St. Louis players that are now kind of giving the Irish a serious look, and it's obviously a great talent hotbed in St. Louis, Missouri.
See, I don't really know. I'm just trying to set an example. I'm trying to show them that you don't have to go to the biggest schools like Alabama, Georgia. You can. I think that we could go to Notre Dame and we could do something special there and just try to bring all the talent to one place. We already had Kyron Williams. He's in the league now, so let's keep it rolling. We got Christian Gray. We have me. A few other guys you mentioned, and then I'm trying to get J-Mac and Wingo to come on down too. If we can get those two guys, I think Notre Dame will be. We had a fantastic four, like they said.
Well, Jeremiah, let me ask you this. I mean, you get those guys, you continue to build off. I mean, Notre Dame's got a fantastic 2023 group. We're seeing a lot of growth for this team right now after a tough start this season. What do you feel like is the ceiling for Notre Dame football? Is this championships every year? What is the expectations you have moving forward here?
I think most definitely that we will win a natty. I think we will, honestly. After this recruiting class, I think that a lot of people will start to look at Notre Dame more. They'll see Notre Dame's got a lot of big recruits now. They got a lot of 4-stars. I know they had a 5-star, but I don't know what happened with that. But Notre Dame has got a lot of really good recruits, and a lot of people are going to start to see that maybe Notre Dame is a place that they can be at. And I most definitely think that Notre Dame will win natty in the future. Maybe multiple, but I know we're going to win one.
I love it, man. I love it. And speaking to your dad in the past, I know that you have some big expectations in the classroom as well. If I had this correct, I think you might be going pre-med or you might be doing engineering. Like, I know you have a lot of goals in the classroom. Can you just talk to the fans about, just the academic part of everything and what you plan on majoring while you're at Notre Dame?
First off, I want to say academics to me are really big because, football can really end at any moment. And none of us really know when that moment will be. So you always got to make sure you're doing good in the classrooms. And my favorite subject is science. I like science. I like engineering. So that's one of the reasons why I picked Notre Dame too, the academics. So
Yep.
I can have something if football doesn't work out. I know Notre Dame will take care of me in that aspect. Yeah, no, I think academics are very important, and I think that Notre Dame has everything that I really need to be successful.
Yeah. And I know your family was obviously a big part of this, right, Jeremiah? Because I know you wanted to get your mom on campus to meet, the coaching staffs that were recruiting you heavy. And I know your dad's been obviously a big support in your journey here as well. Can you talk to me about the importance of your family being comfortable with the decision you made and getting your mom on campus? Obviously, I know family is important to you.
Mm-hmm. So with family, my family, they said that they will support me on either direction I went, either direction of school that I wanted to go to. So just finding a place where they're comfortable with and that I'm also comfortable with was really something I was looking forward to. And we found that at Notre Dame, they really love Notre Dame. So kind of just Notre Dame just has everything. I just keep saying that. And I think it's just the perfect fit for me and my family. They love it. I love it. And yeah.
Was there a moment, because I know this is something where you didn't want to rush the decision, you wanted to make sure that you had, everything checked, all that good stuff. Was there a moment where you knew it was Notre Dame, though? Had it been for a while? Was it something just recently that was kind of weighing on your mind? Like, was there a singular moment where you were finally like, yeah, man, like, this is Notre Dame. It's Irish for me?
I've always known. I think I've always known that it was going to be Notre Dame. Like I've known that since like the beginning of my football season. Notre Dame was always on the top of my mind, and I think it just took me a while to actually pull the trigger. I think I was waiting for something that was going to wow me into choosing a school, but that feeling never came. So I don't think that feeling was ever going to come. So since Notre Dame was on the top of my head, I knew Notre Dame had everything that I really wanted. And I just said, let me just stop playing and just get this thing rocking so I could focus on finishing my season.
Yep.
And that was really how I decided. And my family too. My dad was like, am I getting stressful and all that type of stuff. So I already knew Notre Dame from the beginning of my season was probably where I was going to go. I was just waiting for that little wow factor, but that never came, so I had to make a decision.
But I definitely want to ask about your season in a second because obviously you guys are off to a great start. Had a couple big victories. You're balling out so far. Let me ask you though, the one person that we don't talk about enough, I feel like in Notre Dame recruiting circles, is Chad Bowden and the job that he's obviously done as the recruiting director there at Notre Dame. Can you talk about Chad, your relationship with him? I know I saw the video you put out, kind of busting on Chad a little bit, the video he sent you, all that good stuff. How important has Chad kind of been in this recruitment for you as well?
Chad, he's been really big in the recruitment. I like his personality. He's real. He's funny and he's very energetic. And I think he played a key role. He was one of my main contacts, and he did a pretty good job of selling Notre Dame to me and all that stuff. But I think Chad did a very good job, and I think that he's great. He's great.
Well, let me ask you this, man. How does it feel now to be committed, have this behind you, and now you can really enjoy senior year, right? Your final year in the midst of a great season. What's it like to just kind of get back to being a high school football player for a second?
So it's great. I have nothing to worry about, really. I'm just here playing football, playing with my friends, trying to finish out this season, hopefully win another state championship, and that's just a great feeling. I really don't have anything to worry about anymore, nothing to stress me out. But, I just get to finish out this season and spend the rest of my senior year with my friends and just kick it, man. So I really have nothing to worry about. So I'm just going to enjoy the rest of my senior year.
I guess my big question for you, Jeremiah, is obviously we have a lot of fans that are excited that you're a part of the program on this channel, on the message board, all that good stuff. I guess give them a sneak peek, man. I know that for me, like the versatility you bring, right? Like you're a dynamic running back, but I mean, we've talked about it, right? You could be a wide receiver if you wanted to. You could be a defensive back. You return kicks. Like you can do whatever you want on the football field. But tell Notre Dame fans listening out there right now, what are they getting? What is Notre Dame getting in Jeremiah Love? And what type of player should they expect when you get on campus?
You should expect, I think I'm going to be a great player. Shoot, just give me the ball. That's all I got really have to say. I can go to running back, receiver, kick return, punt return. I'll kind of just be all over the place. Just anything to really get me the ball. And I know that I will be a great player there, and I'm going to do some great things. So you can expect to see a lot of great things out of me.
And I'm sure most Notre Dame fans listening are probably already follow you on Twitter, man. But I want to give you a minute to just plug anything you want to plug. I know you've been working on a little comic idea in the background with your parents. So, like, if you want to plug that, you want to plug social media handles, any other NIL opportunities that you might be looking at in the future, whatever you want, man. I just want to give you a minute to just plug whatever you want to plug.
Oh, the thing about the comic, I watch a lot of anime, and I think that football, well, I don't think that, but football has been very big in my life. It's done a lot of good things for me, and everybody loves football, and I watch. And the reason I came up with comics is because I watch a lot of anime, and I think anime is amazing. So I was saying to myself, like, what if I combined anime with football? Those are two things that I love. So I just think that making a comic about football would just be pretty cool, I guess, and kind of just to do something with football, something that I like. It's not really for publicity or anything like that. I just think that it would be pretty cool to make a comic, and I think that kids will love it. I think my first comic that I'm going to come out with, it's really going to be for kids, really, because I know kids love football. I'll do some things for the older people too, but right now it's just going to be for kids, really. And I just want to do something that's just pretty cool and that people will like, and it's going to be something pretty simple. So that's that. And Instagram, follow me on Instagram. Instagram is Jeremiah Love, the same one as my Twitter. And that's pretty much it.
Well, again, joined by Jeremiah Love, star running back out of Christian Brothers, and the newest commit to the 2023 recruiting class. Jeremiah, it's been a pleasure being able to cover your recruitment so far, man. Wishing you all the best, and I just want to thank you so much again for joining the show today.
Thank you.
All right, well, there you have it. That was my in-depth conversation with Jeremiah Love. In the future, we'll have on the message board and on the YouTube channel the full video that will be a little better quality. But there we have it, folks. That was if you're on the board, right? boards.irishbreakdown.com. You know, the other day I said that I would have a couple cool interviews for you. Well, this is the first one. This is the first cool interview for the channel. I hope you all enjoyed it. He's because I got to talk to him for a little while even before we started shooting. And I'll say this, man, he's a Notre Dame kid. Like, what do you want me to say about it, right? Great student, cares about his education, truly does. Like I said, he is talking about pre-med, if not pre-med, engineering. So he's a really intelligent young man. Despite the fact that he has this big personality, he's actually a kind of a guy that kind of likes to just stick to himself, get his work done, do all that kind of stuff, right? So Alan, yeah, he can read your comments. Sorry, there's a lot of questions that are coming in. Yeah, he can see everything because it's on the YouTube channel. So this was a big one, and he is a player that, again, he just kind of fits everything, right? From a student perspective, really values education. Great family too, by the way, comes from a great family. I kind of talked to him a little bit about off camera the fact that it's a transfer portal world and sometimes commitments don't mean anything. And I'll tell you this, he took his time with this recruitment and he has made this decision based upon this is where he wants to be long-term, right? Like this isn't a short-term decision for Jeremiah Love. So a big time, obviously, fit. And I think that it just makes a lot of sense, right? Like Notre Dame has a smaller student base. I think that'll fit Jeremiah really well. They need his type of running style in the running back room to continue making it more and more dynamic. He's a great student that will fit in well in that regard as well. And he brings 4.4 speed. That is a 6'1", 195 plus running back. So big time get for Notre Dame. Fits everything. And you even heard, I will be publishing something about his comics that he's been creating. I got to look at one of the drawings that he created based upon his comic. And I will say this. It's really dope, man. It's dope. You, all the fans out there are really going to like it a lot because it's got some Notre Dame elements in it. We'll just leave it at that, right? So, a lot of fun, and just wanted to say that. Not only will I be sharing those drawings, but just a little more insight into him, right, and why it's here. We're going to talk a lot more on the board about this, but there's been a lot of rumors that have just kind of been thrown around about him, about, NIL and Notre Dame's a second option and all that type of stuff. And it was just always Notre Dame. It was all Notre Dame. So the fit, as we continue that conversation, right? He fits into where Notre Dame needs because he brings dynamic elements. I mean, there's a possibility that next year Notre Dame has Chris Tyree, that they have Jadarian Price coming back from injury, and Jeremiah Love. You were talking about speed on top of having a guy like Audric Estime, having a guy like Logan Diggs, having Jane Lamar coming in, having Jabron Payne on the roster. That is a star-studded running back class. Not to mention, this kid is someone that can do stuff in the return game. He can catch the football out of the backfield. So, yeah, it just makes total sense. So, what's next for the rest of this class? And then we'll get out of here in a second because it's going to be a long day. Make sure you check out the live stream after the show as well. We'll be doing our post-game live stream as we always do. So how does the rest of the class kind of formulate now? The offensive class at this point, at running back, it's done. You have Jaden Lamar. You have Jeremiah Love. You're good at running back for the 2023 class. Nothing else to do there. Where Notre Dame still needs players offensively in this class, because you have a 4-man wide receiver class with Jaden Greathouse, with Braylon James, with Dylan Edwards, and with Rico Flores. What Notre Dame wants to do is Notre Dame wants to get one more wide receiver in the class. We know who that is already. They want Tayshaun Lyons. That is the player that they want in this class as the 5th wide receiver. And I just had Craig ask, what's the comp for Love? Craig, I'll get to that one in a second. So, and I'll start a couple questions because there's definitely a couple questions that are very pertinent to this commitment. So now that you are just have your eyes set kind of on Tayshaun Lyons, the next question is quarterback. We've talked about quarterback a ton. We have some insights that we are not allowed to put out to the public yet or on the board, but we expect the quarterback board to continue to expand for Notre Dame. There's still the names that you've heard in the past, the Kenny Minchies, the Avery Johnsons, like they're still reaching out to those types of kids, right? But there are some players that they have kind of identified as potential Notre Dame fits that they're going to try to get on campus this fall. So the quarterback board is going to continue to expand here as we're moving forward. Wide receiver done if they get Tayshaun Lyons. Running back done. Now with the commitment of Jeremiah Love. Offensive line is going to be an interesting one. I do think that they will try to get a 5th offensive lineman. Who that is, we really don't know yet, right? Like, we're not sure. Talked a little bit about Christopher Triak that is on campus today, the Wisconsin commit. I don't know if that's a guy they're going to push for. I know there's a couple offensive linemen that they're taking a deep look at, but again, we'll see how that kind of trends moving forward. Tight end is done with Cooper Flanagan. I don't think they're going to pull for another tight end in the class. Then the last guy that is an interesting player that can kind of fit on both sides of the football is Brandon Hillman, the athlete out of Churchland High School. I remember when they offered Brandon Hillman, a lot of people said that, is this the replacement for Jeremiah Love? Because the conversation was, Jeremiah Love, it's trending away. It was never trending away. Notre Dame wants Brandon Hillman as an athlete in the 2023 class, whether that ends up as a running back, as a wide receiver, as a safety, as a rover, as a will, like whatever. Doesn't matter. Wherever he wants to play, Notre Dame will let him play. So that is kind of the last step in this class. I know we had a couple questions that I just wanted to bang out real quick before we let everyone get along with their day. Because, again, this is only the first part of what should be a really exciting day as Notre Dame takes on Stanford tonight at 7:30 Eastern time. Craig D asked, what's your comp for Love? So, Craig, me and Brian brought a couple players to the table. I think that he's kind of a meshing of Josh Adams and CJ Procise. Like, that's how I see running back wise, right? Because Josh Adams he was a home run threat. When he stuck his foot in the ground, he got vertical. He broke the first wave. He was out of here. And good luck catching Josh Adams. He kind of has that high-leggedness as a runner, right? He's kind of a galloper, but what you don't really catch with him is just how fast he is, man. Like, he hits his top speed. He's a 4.4 athlete. Like, that's what Jeremiah Love is. Brian compared him to CJ Procise because of the versatility he has. And I do agree with Brian on this, that he is a little quicker than Josh was, right? Like, Josh was one cut and go. He wasn't going to change direction. He wasn't going to dance. He wasn't going to do all that type of stuff. Jeremiah Love has a little more wiggle to him. He has a little more bounce in his step. So that's kind of a couple comps that have been thrown out there. I think that you can say he's a hybrid type of player between a CJ Procise and a Josh Adams. We had Irish for Life ask, how many running backs will we have next year? So Irish for Life, I'm going to take this two different ways. One, I believe this is what you're asking, how many running backs are going to be on the roster for Notre Dame in 2023? So as of right now, all the running backs in the running back room for Notre Dame are eligible to come back for another year. Chris Tyree is the old man of the group, and he's only a true junior. So you could have back next year Chris Tyree, Audric Estime, Logan Diggs, Jabron Payne, and Jadarian Price coming back from injury. That's 5. Then you're going to get these 2 running backs in this class. It's going to be Jane Lamar, and it's going to be Jeremiah Love. Okay? From here, the only thing that Notre Dame has to worry about with the running backs in 2023 is keeping them. That's all they have to do. So you're going to have potentially a deep running back room, which could get you some options. We'll see. Because there's another interesting question that Zach Martin asked that I wanted to pull up. Said, do you see Love being used a little more in the slot than other current running back room? Zach, it's a great question. I'll say this. Yes. The easy answer is yes, right? He is a player that I think legitimately, probably not a true outside receiver, but I think Jeremiah Love could play slot receiver X in Notre Dame system at the next level. Like, I think he could play to the field a little bit. He's got some natural ball skills as a pass catcher. He's a fluid kid, can run some routes. I like a lot of what Jeremiah Love brings to the table. So do I think it's out of question that you might see Jeremiah Love in 2023 as a designated pass catcher running out of the backfield, or a player that can move into the slot a little bit? I don't think it's out of question, man, because right now we've seen Notre Dame at times be creative with how they use running backs in the passing game, right? Like, you've seen Logan Diggs using the passing game a little bit. We've seen Chris Tyree use the passing game. We even saw Audric Estime take a little bit of an angle route for a big gain for a touchdown, right? So we've seen it, but I think that Jeremiah Love gives you a little more versatility, right? Like, you could throw him in the slot, ask him to run some legitimate wide receiver routes. You can ask Jabron Payne, I think, a little bit to do some of that stuff too. So to answer your question, Zach, yes, I think that he can be used. There is a world where in a 2 running back set, let's say we're in 21 personnel, 2 backs, 1 tight end. We'll just say that for argument's sake. If you have an Audric Estime and a Logan Diggs in the game, for instance, or a Chris Tyree and a Logan Diggs, which we saw a lot last week, Jeremiah Love could play in the slot. So he might not technically be a running back aligned on the play, but you basically have 3 running backs in the game. That's what the versatility he gives. And I'd be surprised if he wasn't in some type of special teams player in year 1. I'm not saying returner, full-time returner, but I'm saying running down on kickoffs with that speed he has, coverage, doing all that type of stuff. Like, I think that Jeremiah Love brings a lot to this team, potentially as a freshman, which is pretty cool. All right, we had Sean Murphy that asked here, is Edwards not a true running back? Sean, no, Notre Dame does not see him as a true running back. He can do some running back things, right? Like, you can use him in the backfield, orbit motion him, get him ball out in space, throw him screens. You can even give him a ball occasionally as far as like a traditional running back, maybe a little power read where you're working him more outside. But Notre Dame sees him as a slot gadget type player. So I envision him being involved in the RPO game, in the screen game, in the jet game, like that type of stuff. He is definitely that type of player, but he's not, he's he's a little bit small right now. I mean, he's listed at 5'9", 165. I've been told he's probably closer to 5'8", and he's probably closer to 155 pounds. So he's not a true running back in Notre Dame's offense. He's a player that is going to be dynamic, though, as a returner, as a receiver, in the screen game. Like, there's so many things that you look at and you say, like, that guy can do a lot for us, right? So it's going to be interesting. We had Christopher Crosby said, Ryan, can they take more than one running back in 2024? That room is getting crowded. Christopher, this really depends on what happens. This really depends on what happens this offseason, right? Because like I said, all the running backs can be back next season, but that doesn't always mean that they all will be back, right? Chris Tyree, if all of them do come back, though, you're 100% right. Because what happens is that Chris Tyree after 2023 will be at 2023 season, he'll be a senior, but he actually does have extra years of eligibility. But I'm not going to assume he's going to be more than a 4-year player. So you're still going to have a deep running back room. You still might have 6 guys coming back the year after. So I think that one running back in 2024 is probably the number right now. But if there is a transfer, if there is someone goes pro early over the next 2 seasons. Like, there's a lot of stuff that can happen that would maybe push that number to 2. But as of right now, I think the number is 1. I think it is. I think the number is 1. You maybe can get to a second if there's a guy like a Jeremiah Love that if you have a guy like a Jeremiah Love that can potentially play another position, then that could open up an opportunity to possibly be, to get a 2 in the 2024 class. But as of right now, true running backs, I think 1, 2, if you're talking about a guy that can kind of play multiple positions. So great question. All right. Great questions. I'm just combing through a couple of more in here because, yes, guys, I mean, you're 100% right. Notre Dame needs to find a quarterback in this class. I think it's very possible that they could. We had this question from Jay said, I like Flanagan at defensive end. Kid flashes there also. Jay, I don't disagree. If you've listened to our shows in the past, especially our Monday recruiting talks, I've talked about Cooper a ton, right? Like, Notre Dame needs a Viper in the class. Cooper Flanagan has some nice reps as a defensive end, man. I think there might be legitimate potential there. But then also, I mean, last game he had 6 catches for over 110 yards and a touchdown, right? So he's a pretty darn good tight end too. But to your point, I think that there's legitimate potential there if Notre Dame chooses to use him that way. I haven't heard that they actually are considering that, right? But as a tight end, like, he's a good football player. Could he play defensive end, though? It's very possible. So it's going to be really interesting to kind of see. But, yeah, it's an interesting thought and one that I've pondered a lot in the past, if I'm being honest. Pondered a lot. So very good comment there, Jay. All right, folks, I think that is going to end it for us today. Before you leave, if you could like and share and subscribe and do all that good stuff, you know the deal on the podcast, right? 5-star reviews are very, very much appreciated. Again, sorry for the technical difficulties, but I'm very happy to have shared the big news with you all that Jeremiah Love has committed to the University of Notre Dame. I'm glad that Jeremiah also, him and his father, Jason, and his family were trusting enough in us to let us present it to him, right? To give him the opportunity to make the commitment live on the Irish Breakdown podcast. So if you all, again, go follow Jeremiah as well if you haven't on Twitter and social media and all that good stuff. So as Mace AK, excuse me, let's put it in the chat. You need to like, you need to subscribe. You also need to join the message board, boards.irishbreakdown.com. We will be back tonight. Don't have an exact time. Keep updated on the board, on Twitter. We will drop a time. Last week we started about 11:30 on a 7:30 start. So sometime tonight we will be having a post-game show to discuss the Notre Dame versus Stanford outcome. So thank you all so much for joining us today. And as McKay just said as well, if you could share this podcast and leave a 5-star review, that would be awesome as well. So thank you all for joining in a great moment. Jeremiah Love commits 2023 running back to the University of Notre Dame. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining Brian. Thank you to Jeremiah and his awesome family for allowing it to happen. Everyone enjoy their game. As Juliet said on this morning's show, go Irish. Thank you all so much for joining the Irish Breakdown podcast.